What's going on, fragrance family? It's your man Gator, better known as the novice nose out here in these fragrance streets. Man, Dumont has been doing their big one recently, man. They have been putting out a few noteworthy fragrances out there, man. I'm talking about your Nitro Red Intense, the Nitro Elixir, which I'm super excited about getting in. And then you get to the Soprano line. The Soprano line has been on fire recently, starting with Ice. Pun intended right there, man. Soprano Ice was actually really good. I had a chance to actually experience that and review it. My guy Walt over there, man, Fat Boy Finesse, he actually had a chance to get his hands on Fury and talk about that in a little bit. That DNA sounds amazing as well, and it was one that I was super interested in. But what I chose to bring in, though, after Ice was one that a lot of people weren't talking about, which was one of the reasons that I ended up bringing it in. But the note breakdown intrigued me enough to where I said this might be one that's a sleeper in that new Soprano line. It's this guy right here. This is Soprano Vivid. The red color just speaks vivid too, man. The fragrance itself speaks vivid. When you spray it on, you do get that vibe. Now, what exact vibe is that? Well, had a chance to actually experience it a little bit, guys. So let's go ahead and pull up, and stay tuned. Now, if I would have dropped that damn bottle, y'all would have been cracking on me for the rest of this review. But guys, this is the guy right here. This is the Soprano Vivid. So let me get a good spray on this thing right now to get this in the air, because to be completely honest, this is really good. I really enjoy this fragrance, and I've had a little bit of time to spend with it now too. I've had some days, and I actually did a thing where I wore it like 3 days in a row just to kind of, you know, experience it a little bit. I normally don't do that, but I'd had a chance to actually wear it to work. I had a chance to actually wear it out in the wild a little bit. So hey, enough for a review, man. So let's get into this fragrance, man. So let me actually get the note breakdown for you here. So this is from Dumont's site, by the way. The top notes are bergamot, grapefruit, lemon, and pepper. The heart notes are cinnamon, cypress, and lavender. That cinnamon is the thing that really intrigued me about this. And then the base notes, sage, labdanum, patchouli, and vetiver. So pretty much the usual suspects, the usual players, with the exception of that cinnamon. That cinnamon actually really colors the way this thing comes across too. Now, I've said a few times when I've talked about this fragrance that I feel like it's an amalgamation of a bunch of different DNAs, and I really believe that that is the case, especially since I had a chance to kind of go in Macy's and kind of smell around a little bit here, because as soon as I sprayed it, it triggered a scent memory for me, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was that I was being triggered by. What I think is happening is that it's an amalgamation of different fragrances that I'm picking up here. So I will say that this is definitely colored by the cinnamon and the pepper. That's what you get when you first spray this fragrance here. It is very reminiscent of the way that 1 million actually opens up, which is why, I mean, it was so familiar to me. But when I actually sprayed and smelled those 1 millions today, I was like, yeah, that's what they're going for. But it's not just 1 million. I feel like there's some other, you know, DNAs that they kind of, some twisting that they kind of put on that 1 million DNA when it comes to Soprano Vivid. Now, when you first spray it, the way it opens up, you get the citruses, but they're slightly muted. They're not like a rindy style of citrus. You know, bergamot can take on the character of your mid and the other top notes, and that's kind of what it does here. It kind of smooths out that top, but at the same time, you're getting the pepper and you're getting the cinnamon, so you're getting a little bit of a spiciness when you first spray this on, akin to another fragrance that a lot of people compared this to, which was Dior Sauvage. Now, I don't find that it is anywhere near it's aromatic like Dior Sauvage, but it is nowhere near that style of pepperiness. However, it does have a little bit of spiciness in here. And of course, the original 1 Million does have a little bit of that spicy kind of vibe as well, when it comes to the way that the cinnamon imparts in that fragrance. And that one actually has cinnamon, which made me think, okay, I kind of see the correlation here. Now, this fragrance isn't what you would call fruity. Now, I pick up a little bit when I first smelled it. For some reason, I kind of pick up this ghost apple note in here. And I think the reason that I'm picking that up is because the way that the lavender comes in this fragrance, and with the cypress, it kind of gives it almost this fresh but kind of biting kind of vibe there. The sage is kind of making it aromatic as well, so it kind of comes across almost with this crispness in there, and I think that's what my nose is kind of interpreting, almost as like an apple kind of vibe there, to go along with the fruitiness that you're getting from the citruses in here. Now, as I said though, it's not something that you find overly fruity. The fruitiness is not something where it's like, oh my God, this is super sweet, super syrupy. It does maintain its freshness. It does maintain its crispness as well. That cinnamon really does its job in the mids here, and as it goes into that opening and just kind of lifting the fragrance. That's really your lifter, is going to be that cinnamon and lavender combo, actually, that's going to really make this fragrance what it is. Now, what is this fragrance? It's something that is going to be, you know, slightly spicy, but also smooth as it goes into the dry down, slightly fruity, but it's not going to be overly fruity, not overly syrupy, anything like that. And like I said, it almost comes across with a little bit of an imparting of that Y DNA. And it's kind of weird because, like I said, when I was talking about this fragrance before, I was getting apple for some reason, right? And even though it's not in the note breakdown, and I just said, you know, maybe it's the lavender that's lifting it, when you smell it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's kind of got this in the mids, especially, a kind of almost like a little bit of an imparting of that Y DNA as well. So when I talk about this fragrance being an amalgamation of a bunch of different DNAs, it seems kind of like lockstep with the other Soprano fragrances. I mean, when you think about the way that Ice is, where it's like Y, but kind of an aquatic vibe to it. Fury, the same way. It's kind of an amalgamation of different vibes here, different DNAs. I feel like this is a little bit of an amalgamation of a Sauvage plus 1 Million with a little tap of like a Y, maybe Elixir or something like that. It's kind of thrown in there here. And what you're getting out of this is something that is going to be perfect for your fall and winter wear. Now, it'll be great for the spring as well. So just to kind of go into the way this thing kind of progresses here, when you first spray it on, you're gonna get that energetic vibe. You're gonna get that pop from the cinnamon and from the pepper, and it's gonna be really uplifting here. It's gonna sting your nose just a little tad, just for that first 5 minutes or so. But it really does come across as an aromatic but smoother style of fragrance. Now, as it goes into that 30 minutes to an hour, you're basically getting a little bit of a transition from that cinnamon really being like and pepper being like the dominant forces in this thing, to really laying back and allowing the lavender to really start lifting this thing up. So you're getting this beautifully well done lavender here with a slight little bit of woodiness, and you're still getting some of this impart of some fruitiness you know, from out of nowhere here, kind of coming in the mids in that hour to 2 hour mark. And it kind of floats in that direction for the rest of the life of the fragrance. There's no real like deviation from that. You do pick up some patchouli like from the mids on through it. It kind of serves in the back to kind of darken this thing up just a little bit, to where it's not overly light, but at the same time, you really are just kind of staying in that fresh, but slightly smooth and sweet lavender vibe here for the majority of the life of this fragrance. Now, when we talk about the life of the fragrance, Dumont does not disappoint when we're talking about longevity wise. I'm getting somewhere in the range of about 8 hours or so on skin. It actually projects really well for that first hour to 2 hours. It kind of shrinks down, you know, like exponentially though. I'm looking at somewhere around that 3rd to 4th hour where it really kind of drains into being about a foot off. So it doesn't like completely fall off a cliff, but what it does is it kind of like falls into being like maybe that foot of projection here going into that 3rd, 4th hour. It doesn't become a skin scent till probably around that 7 hour, 6 to 7 hour, where you start to really just kind of pick it up off skin. The sillage on this thing is great though. Sillage kind of lasts pretty much throughout the life of the fragrance here. You get subtle whiffs and pops of it all throughout the day. And this is one that if you spray it on clothes, it's gonna last you the whole day on clothes. This is really one that surprised me a lot. Like I said, it was the one that really intrigued me when I saw the note breakdown. And beware, guys, of fake note breakdowns for the Soprano line. It seems like for some reason, all these sites that have the Soprano line up, they don't have the correct note breakdown. Go to Dumont's site because they've got a completely different note breakdown. Like I saw one site that had peach and all those kind of things in here, which weirdly enough, if you look at the Dumont site and you don't see apple or peach or any of those things like that, but on some of the other sites you do see that, no, you do see apple and all those things. So maybe they're just smelling this thing and interpreting the notes kind of like I was, and you know, that's what it is. But the official Dumont site doesn't list it. That being said, this is really nice. I enjoyed the wearing experience on this. This whole Dumont line, the Soprano line, I really enjoyed the wear on this. That's all I got for this fragrance, man. I really enjoyed this. Looking forward to wearing this in the fall. Oh, by the way, this is, I wouldn't necessarily call this a warm weather fragrance. It is fresh, it is uplifting, but I don't know how well it's gonna play when it gets super, super hot. However, I think this is gonna be perfect for your fall wear. I think this is gonna be perfect for winter and for spring. Not sure on summer. You just go ahead and transition to Soprano Ice for that one. But as far as like the wears for the fall, this one is gonna be a fall banger, man. Take note of it, man. That's all I got for this fragrance today, guys. Have you put your nose on it? Let me know in the comments, guys. And as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, share this video with somebody you know that loves fragrances, guys. And as always, whatever you're doing, however you're doing it, make sure you make today the best day ever on purpose. Peace out.